Well, the Daily Beacon was in Fayetteville for quite an eventful game. I'm Caleb Jarreau. That's Trevor McGee. And if you notice behind us, there's some goalposts on the ground, not done by fans, asterisks, wasn't done by fans, put down by stadium staff because, Trevor, in case you missed it in the press box, the students stormed the field from this thing behind us, or behind the camera, called the Trough, because Tennessee went on the road, has the number 4 ranked team in the country, and lost here in Fayetteville. Initial takeaways, Trevor.
That's about as bad as it's going to get offensively. You think 2 weeks ago at Oklahoma, when they slowed it down, still scored 25 points, it was a bad offensive showing. Tonight, it doubled that and did even worse. That first half was atrocious, 0 points in the first 30 minutes. In that second 30 minutes, things got better. Dylan Sampson had those 2 touchdowns, back-to-back drives right out of the second half. And then it just faltered again. Arkansas's starting quarterback went down, Taylon Green. Really gruesome injury. He was rolling on the ground. Didn't look good initially. Backup comes in, Malachi Singleton. He gets that game-winning 11-yard read option keeper, scores, and then on the other end, Tennessee just cannot finish it. Just was a sloppy night overall. And at one point, you thought Tennessee might have it, and then it just all fell apart.
I think it's worth mentioning that final play, Trevor. If anybody was in the stands in 2021, I believe it was, when Joe Milton ran out of bounds 5 yards, 10 yards in front of the end zone against Ole Miss. Clock was at 0. He just ran out of bounds. Nico did the same thing tonight. And Heupel basically called Joe out on us. He was like, Joe's an old quarterback. This is a young quarterback. And to Nico's sake, there was not a lot of open receivers tonight from what I could tell. And the offense was lifeless.
Yeah,
the entire game. Straight out of halftime, you got those 2 drives from Dylan Sampson, which one is the lead photo in Trevor's game story, which is up on utdailybeacon.com, shameless plug. But that was it, really. That was the only life, was Dylan Sampson. And as soon as Arkansas started packing the box, I didn't see anything else for Tennessee's offense.
Yeah, it was just as disappointing as it gets because Arkansas secondary really isn't that good. A lot of teams have exposed them.
They're last in the SEC, right?
Yeah, well, they're, I think, 14.
Okay, last in the old SEC.
Yeah,
that was on me.
So they're bottom half in the country, bottom of the SEC.
Yeah.
It's not a good pass defense, and Tennessee just could not find any openings. And really, sometimes you might want to question that play calling in a sense because that first half, there was not many plays that were going beyond the line of scrimmage.
It felt very conservative.
There was a lot of plays, and it looked a lot like last year, where you throw it behind the line of scrimmage and hope the receiver does something. And that didn't win the game tonight, and it's probably not going to win you a game because I don't even think we saw a deep ball of more than 15 yards maybe. Because
well, you had the one right here that that overthrew Squirrel White, and then there were several plays where he was open over the middle of the field and Nico just didn't throw it. So I wonder if that's a confidence issue. Maybe he just doesn't want to try to thread it into those needles. But I feel like a lot of this does come back to head coach Josh Heupel. He mentioned it that the loss is on him, which is coach speak. That's what he's going to say. But there were some bad, clock management. I know Trevor's going to write about the offensive line after tonight. 5 penalties, 3 sacks allowed. And I'm curious to see what PFF is going to say because there had to have been a ton of QB hurries.
Yeah.
Because Nico had 1 read, 2 read, and then he was running for his life basically. And he wasn't just rolling out. He was getting hawked down. I mean, it was not a good night for him. He's definitely going to be sore tomorrow. All in all, I want to talk about the defense a little bit, but there's not much to say. I mean, they played pretty prevent-like, a conservative defensive game plan, and it's kind of that bend but don't break that Tim Banks had a lot in 2022 when the defense was and last year too. But they bent and didn't break. Let up 3 points, like you said, in the first half. Arkansas missed another field goal. It felt like it could have easily been 24-0, 24-7 in that first half, and it wasn't. It was 3-0 going into halftime because that defense held up. But eventually, and somebody asked Keenan Peely about it, and he didn't admit to it, eventually that's going to wear down your defense because, as anybody who watches Tennessee knows, that offense moves quick. So if that offense goes 3 and out, your defense had no rest.
Yeah, definitely. It's Arkansas's offense, in a way, it pieced together Tennessee's defense, but like you said, it could have been 24-0. Tennessee held up, made it 3-0. There were some really crucial plays here and there in that first half. There were 2 fourth-down stops. Both, from my vantage point, were questionable. To me, they looked like Arkansas had both, but I had an awful viewpoint, as you could have some people may have seen.
Third row Trevor over here in a very small press box. I will say, though, sideline environment was pretty good until fans started coming over the wall, but that happens.
Yeah,
especially in the SEC.
I do want to touch back on that offensive line because it was such a bad performance from them, and it's really disappointing as much as I keep using that word because 2 weeks ago we saw Lance Hurd and John Campbell both banged up. Lance Hurd didn't play, John Campbell missed some snaps. Well, they had that bye week last week to get healthy. They come back this week, didn't appear on the injury report at all. They looked good to go. They come in and put together whatever that was right behind us. That 4 sacks allowed. There were 7 penalties committed tonight, 5 of them on offensive linemen. 3 were false starts. 1 was an illegal snap on Cooper Mays, and the other was a personal foul on John Campbell. So you just can't have that when your offensive line is supposed to be at full health and they come out and do not protect their redshirt freshmen.
You didn't even mention the other penalties. There was a running into the kicker on 4th and 4, so it gave him the first down. And it was not even, Heupel says he was pushed. He may have been pushed, but it was flush. And then you also have Omar Norman-Lott roughing the passer, which took Taylon Green out of the game. And even with Taylon Green out of the game, Arkansas was still able to facilitate the offense. All in all, not a good night. Very boring football if you're not a Tennessee or Arkansas fan. Lots of calling the hogs. Other strange stuff happening. Fans storming the field. Players, getting in shoving matches over here with fans. Yeah. Welcome home of the Razorbacks. Welcome to Razorback country, Trevor.
Yeah, it was a nice atmosphere. Of course, it's my first experience with an open air press box, so I was able to see the environment, and to me, it was extremely loud in there. So I will give all the credit to the fans that showed out. I believe the total was about 76,000, just over it. So it was an electric crowd, and they really showed out for the Razorbacks. And for Tennessee, if you want to take anything good away from it, I guess maybe it's not something Tennessee cares about, but they've gotten to the point as a program where it's an honor to be beaten. Arkansas stormed the field against Tennessee, and when you get to a point that your program, it counts enough for you to risk running onto the field for, I'd say that's a win just tucked back behind in your head.
I think it's also worth mentioning that this won't even be the biggest upset of the day.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt beat Alabama. Missouri blew out A&M. The league is... A&M blew out Missouri. The league is cannibalizing itself, which is helping Tennessee. It reminds me of the old Pac-12 where they just all beat up on each other. But that is also a missed opportunity because if Tennessee would have won today, they'd be probably, 3 on Monday in the rankings and leading the SEC just rolling. Mm-hmm. But they're not. They lost to Arkansas here. Tennessee as a program has demons here. So does Arkansas against Tennessee, but you really just sum it up as Tennessee beat themselves and Arkansas, helped out along the way. Those penalties. Tennessee's offense, for anybody who watches Tennessee's offense, knows that the key is to keep moving forward. You couldn't run the ball in the first half, you're not moving forward. You're having penalties, so when you do get a plus play, like a throw up the sideline, you're going backwards 5 yards. It doesn't work, and you saw that tonight. And you have to see an adjustment from this team. I'll let you have the last word here in a second, Trevor, does the playbook get open? Are you going to let Nico run this offense? Because it feels like to me there's still something, it still feels like the Citrus Bowl, where Nico's just kind of running around playing a very tame offense, when in reality, when this team was best was when Hendon Hooker was throwing vertically, and that opened up the run, close to the line of scrimmage. So what do you think, Trevor?
Yeah, you just got to wonder where the trust factor's at. It's a redshirt freshman quarterback. He's said in the past on media day that road environments is what he likes to play in. He comes out to his second SEC start, and the playbook just is completely closed down. It's one of those trust factors that you look at it and are wondering why he didn't get quite the run he should have gotten, and it's just overall the most disappointing performance you can expect if you're coming into this environment and hoping for a win. But honestly, at this point, there's no reason to take away any moral victories because Tennessee as a program's past that. You just got to pack it up, move on, and expect Florida next week in a hostile environment back in England.
Yep, Florida will be ready to play with a coach that's coaching for his job, and Tennessee's gonna have to bounce back. You have a 5-star quarterback. It's time to put him to work. For Trevor McGee, I'm Caleb Jarreau. I will note as we end this, some outlets didn't even send reporters to this game, and the Daily Beacon is represented at every football game this far this year, and we will continue to be the rest of the season. So. We'll be back on Monday to listen to Heupel, which is fall break for students, but we'll keep working.